Welcome everyone. Today, we will focus on an essential component of the Agricultural and Fisheries Modernization Act. So under subtitle 2, we have Human Resource Development. So the previous group discussed the sections 1 to 64, which lay the groundwork for our agricultural policies and frameworks, and it becomes clear that the success of these initiatives hinges on one crucial element. And also na siyang element, that is our people. Section 65, Declaration of Policy. The AFMA declares a comprehensive policy prioritizing education and training in science and technology. So this policy is essential because by focusing on education, the state or the government aims to uplift communities, reduce poverty, and enhance overall quality of life. For example, mag-provide sila og training about modern agricultural techniques nga makatabang sa atong farmers to increase their crop yields. Naka-state pod ani nga policy that the state shall promote industrialization and full employment. So the policy emphasizes the need for robust agricultural base to support industrial growth. For example, developing agro-industries that process local produce that can create jobs and stimulate economic activity. Ang example ani kay ang mushroom cultivation. So si Mushroom City Incorporation, kaning ilang operations does not only provide employment, but also they promote sustainable farming practices. Ga-encourage sila sa ato ang mga local farmers or even other locals nga mo engage sa mushroom production. So this boosts the local economy by creating a supply chain for mushroom products. So this section emphasizes the importance of human resource development in agriculture and fisheries. It recognizes that skilled and knowledgeable workers are crucial for the modernization and sustainability of these sectors. Section 66, or the National Agriculture and Fisheries Education System, or NAFES. So the National Agriculture and Fisheries Education System aims to create a comprehensive education system that addresses the needs of the agriculture and fisheries sectors. So this includes formal education, vocational training, and continuing education programs. So NAFES aims to create a cohesive system that meets the educational needs of the economy and the society. So unsa pa sabot ana? This means developing curricula that reflect current industry demands, ensuring students are well prepared for careers in agriculture and fisheries. The program focuses on updating educational content gikan sa elementary padulong sa tertiary levels. For example, i-incorporate ang digital tools such as GIS or Geographic Information System sa agricultural studies. So with this, ma-prepare or makabalo ang mga students about unsa ang paggamit or unsa ang mga modern farming methods. By enhancing educational standards, NAFES aims to promote global competitiveness. So collaboration with international universities can facilitate exchange programs that expose students to global best practices. Section 67, Education Program for Elementary and Secondary Levels. Section 67 of the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act, or ang AFMA, establishes an agriculture and fisheries education program aimed at elementary levels under the NAFES, or ang National Agriculture and Fisheries Education System. So kani siya nga program shall be formulated, organized, and implemented by the DECS. So what is DECS? DECS stands for Department of Education, Culture, and Sports, which was the former name of DepEd, or the Department of Education. So isa ka practical scenario ani is ang hands-on activities sa mga students like gardening. I do remember sa una, grade 4 to grade 6, kay kanang naay gardening. Wherein, ang mga students, magtanong sila, and then if kani siya is pwede na i-harvest, then ilaha dayon tong lutuon. So with this, ang mga students, makabalo sila about sustainable practices ug ang science behind plant growth. This approach not only teaches valuable skills, but also encourages students to view agriculture and fisheries as viable career paths. Section 68, or the Post-Secondary Education Program. So kani nga section gi-emphasize dari ang collaboration with TESDA to enhance post-secondary education in agriculture and fisheries. So si TESDA can work with educational institutions to create responsive curricula that meet the industry needs, ensuring graduates possesses relevant skills. So unsay pasabot ani? For example, Si TESDA mag-offer siya og training programs. Example sa training programs kay fish processing or organic farming. So ang mga tao nga ni-enroll ato niya nga program, pag human ato nila sa training, na sila madawatan nga certificate. So katong nga certificate, magpamatuod to siya nga katong nga certain nga tao na siya skills or kahibalo ato nga program. So if mag-apply na to siya, pwede na to niya nga mabutang sa credentials kato nga certificate. Section 69, Network of National Centers of Excellence for Tertiary Education. So dari naka-outline ang establishment sa network of NCE or National Centers of Excellence sa Agriculture and Fisheries Education. Si CHED, siya ang responsible na mo-accredit ana nga public and private colleges and universities nga ma-part ana nga network. So para ka na nga institution ma-considered siya for accreditation, it must meet specific criteria. So these criteria includes factors such as accessibility to community, research quality and utilization, faculty qualification, available facilities, international linkages, and potential contributions to agricultural and fisheries development. Dari po na section naka-specify nga only one provincial institute per province and one national university per field per region will be accredited. So kaning network aims to strengthen education and research in agriculture and fisheries by establishing high-quality institutions that meet specific standards and contribute to the development of these sectors. Section 70, Rationalization Plan. So this section outlines a plan to rationalize existing colleges and universities in the field of agriculture and fisheries. So the goal is to upgrade and maintain high academic standards in the field of agriculture and fisheries. Tapos, katong mga institutions na wala na accredit or wala na designate as Centers of Excellence or NCES will be given time to redirect the programs to other fields needed by their province or anang ilahang region. So, they may also merge their programs with accredited NCES, and ang CHED and the Philippine Association of State Universities and Colleges or ang PASOK will jointly formulate a rationalization plan consulting with the affected institutions. Section 71, Counterpart Funding from LGUs. So, dari na section, gi-address ang financial support para sa provincial institutions. So, ang local government units or ang LGU, gi-require sila na mo-provide at least 10% sa MOOE budget or Maintenance and Other Operating Expenses budget para sa provincial institutes within their area of responsibility or ilahang jurisdiction. So, kani siya, mahitag din siya within 2 years of laws implementation. So the CHED will develop a provincial national partnership scheme for sharing financial support, taking into account social equity factors for poorer provinces. So Section 72, National Integrated Human Resource Development Plan. So ang Section 72 sa AFMA, kay kanang ga-mandate siya sa Commission on Higher Education or CHED na magbuhat ng National Integrated Human Resource Development Plan. So kani nga plan will guide priorities in educational programs, enrollment targets, and performance metrics and investment strategies. For example, so naay growing demand for sustainable fishing practices. So ang plano kay i-prioritize ang pag-develop og kanang new curricular programs nga mag-focus sa marine conservation and sustainable aquaculture. So with this, it could set performance target for students' enrollment in these programs and identify funding sources to enhance facilities and training for educators. With this, may ensure nga ang katong workforce is equipped to meet the current industry needs while promoting sustainable practices.
Section 73, Output-Oriented Performance Standard. This section mandates that universities and colleges, particularly those recognized as Center of Excellence, create a system to monitor and assess their performance. This system is called the Output-Oriented Performance Standard. This ensures that universities and an institution are accountable, efficient, and deliver high-quality education. So, for example, ang isa ka university is nag-install sila og software nga mao'y mag-track sa mga graduation rates, mga research output, o ang mga student satisfaction. Kanin siya is maka-help ni siya sa institution nga ma-review o ma-improve po ilahang performance. Section 74, Evaluation System. This section requires that within 1 year, the CHED will gather baseline data to measure performance in agriculture and fisheries education using the standard set in Section 73. Every 5 years, after that, universities recognized as leader in this field will undergo an external review. Section 75, Agriculture and Fisheries Board. This section established an Agriculture and Fisheries Board within the Professional Regulation Commission to improve the agriculture and fisheries professions. For those who haven't passed the civil service exam but have at least 5 years of experience working in agriculture or fisheries, this board will automatically grant them eligibility. So, let's say for example nga, ang isa ka person is nag-work siya sa isa ka fisheries company for 6 years but wala siya nag-take og civil service exam. So, ang board will i-recognize ilang experience o make it eligible to work in government roles without the exam. And additionally, within 1 year of this law approval, the board will hold its first licensing exam for graduates in fisheries and agriculture. Section 76, Continuing Agriculture and Fisheries Education Program. This section requires that a national program be developed to keep teachers and educators in agriculture and fisheries up to date with the latest knowledge and skills. This program will be created by the Commission of Higher Education, Department of Education, Technical, Educational, and Skill Development Authority, and universities. As part of this, training for teachers in home economics livelihood education for primary school and technology and home economics for secondary will be improved. Section 77, Scholarship Program. This section required CHED together with universities, TESDA, and DBM to create a national scholarship program for academic staff in agriculture and fisheries. This program will help deserving teachers and researchers get advanced degrees, including opportunities to study abroad if suitable. So, for example, ang isa ka agriculture professor is nag-show siya sa iyang strong teaching and research skills, and then kana siya nga professor is maka-receive na siya og scholarship program para i-pursue niya ang iyang degree in agriculture sciences. And if applicable pod ang scholarship kay mag-allow pod siya nga ang kato siya nga professor is mag-study siya sa foreign university and giving them access to international knowledge and techniques that they can bring back to benefit local students and research. Section 78, Merit System. This section requires universities and colleges working with CHED and DBM to create a system for promoting academic staff based on their performance and achievements. This system will focus on result and contribution to scientific excellence and academic scholarship. Section 79, Budgetary Allocation Scheme. The budgetary allocation scheme for NAFES shall be as follows. First, existing NSCs will continue to receive funding which will be adjusted over time to meet new standards set by the Congress. And the second, new NCEs created under the law will also get funding based on their programs and staffing needs approved by the Department of Budget and Management. For instance, a new agriculture-focused college will receive a budget for its specific program and staff. All of this allocation will be included in the national budget each year.
I'll be reporting to Title 3, Chapter 1, which is all about research and development. First, we talk about Section 80, Declaration of the Policy. It is hereby declared the policy of the state to promote science and technology as essential for national development and progress. Ang state is maghatag og priority sa research and development, invention, innovation, of education, science and technology, trainings, and services. Apil pod ang development sa relevant technologies ug ang state is mo-support sa mga indigenous o mga nagsalig sa technology and as an application for the productive and national life. Next is the Section 81, the National Research and Development System in Agriculture and Fisheries System and National Life. So, the department is coordination with the Department of Science and Technology and other appropriate agencies and research institutions shall enhance, support, and consolidate the existing National Research Development System. Fisheries within 6 months from the approval of this Act. So, provided. So, sunod sa unong kabulan, gikan sa pag-approve sa law is, kini nga policy is kinahanglan nga ang research development and sa fisheries is magpadayon siya nga independent but with coordination sa agriculture. Just related to special concerns in agriculture and fisheries research services. Agriculture and fisheries research and development activities shall be multidisciplinary and shall involve farmers, fisher folk and their organizations, and those engaged in food and non-food production and processing, including the private and public sectors. So, ang research institutions per center shall enjoy autonomy and academic freedom. So, ang research institution na freedom o katungod sa mga academic freedom. Ang department may cooperation sa Department of Science and Technology o uban pangkamay nga ehensya maghatag og sistema sa promotion na nakabase sa merit o output aron sa pagdevelop sa mas maayo pang productive na research ug aron pagsuporta sa system na sa gobyerno para mas mapalikon o magpabilin ang ilang mga scientific personnel. Ang tama pod nga technology nga gamiton aron sa pag-protect sa environment, pag-reduce sa gastos sa production, ug pag-improve sa quality sa produkto, pag-increase sa value added for global competitiveness. Section 83 is funds for research and development. So, considering the nature of research, development, and extension activities, funding shall be based on the following guidelines. First, allocation of multi-year budgets which shall be treated as research and development grants. Second is the budget for agriculture and fisheries research and development shall be at least 1% of the gross value added GPA by year 2001, allocating at least 1% of the total amount by 1999. The Department of Finance or the DOF, in a consultation, the department shall formulate revenue-enhanced measures to fund this facility. At least 20% shall be spent in support of basic research and not more than 80% shall be used for applied research and technology development, of which at least 10% shall be used for technology packaging and transfer activities. Last is a science fund shall be established from which scientific community and agriculture and fisheries shall draw its financial resource for sustainable career development, provided that only the interest earnings of fund shall be used. 84. Excellence and accountability in research and development. The department, in collaboration with the Department of Science and Technology and other appropriate government and agencies, shall formulate the national guidelines in evaluating research and development activities and institutions which shall involve the independent and interdisciplinary team. The government will maghimo og mga guidelines para pag-evaluate sa mga activities nga nahimo sa institution ug sa mga research and development nga mahimong appeal ang interdependence and multidisciplinary na group sa mga reviewer or sa evaluators activities. And Section 85 is communication of research results and research extension linkage. So, research information and technology shall be communicated through National Information Network or NIN. So, all government agencies including state colleges and universities and private educational institutions selected at NCS shall be computerized network provided with regular updated information and shall likewise provide through the NIN results of research and development activities and current available technology relating agriculture and fisheries. So, the all agencies sa gobyerno is apel ang mga state colleges of universities, mga private institution, is need nila nga maka-network or mag-update sa current na status sa results sa research of technology and agriculture and fisheries. So, need nila mag-update or mag-information. We will talk about Chapter 2 titled The Extension Services. So in Section 86, Declaration of Policy, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to promote science and technology as essential for national development and progress. Ang state has a given priority sa paggamit sa research and development pinaagi sa mga formal and informal education, extension, o mga training services. So, kini is maghatag opportunity sa development of the agriculture, especially in the fisheries sa Philippines, from resource-based to technology-based industry. Section 87 is the services extension. So, ang mga serbisyo sa extension sa agriculture sa pangisdaan is, kinahanglan siya is, na siya 4, which is A, B, C, D, para sa community sa farmers and the fisheries, which is training services, farm or business advisory services, demonstration services, information and communication support services through training.
Section 88, Special Concern in the Delivery of Extension Services.
This section outlines that the delivery of extension services should be inclusive and involve farmers, fisherfolk, and their organization. It, it stresses the importance of addressing both food production and processing, ensuring that the both public and private sector collaborate effectively. Additionally, it calls for a merit and promotion system for extension personnel to enhance professionalism and productivity. Section 89, the National Extension System for Agriculture and Fisheries. This section establishes the framework for a national extension system that coordinates with relevant government agencies to improve agriculture and fisheries. It outlines that this system will consist of three subsystems: a national subsystem that provides overreaching support, local government subsystem that address regional needs, and a private sector subsystem that encourages collaboration with private entities to enhance service delivery. Section 90, the role of local government units. Local government units, or LGU, are responsible for implementing agriculture and fisheries extension services directly to their communities. They must integrate various extension programs and conduct annual evaluation to improve their services. LGU focus on enhancing the capabilities through degree and non-degree training programs, providing technical assistance, managing extension activities, monitoring projects, and authoring information support through various media. Section 91, Role of the Private Sector in Extension. The government encourages the involvement of farmers, fisherfolk, cooperatives, and private sector entities in providing training and other extension services. This collaboration aims to promote community organizing and participatory approaches, utilizing innovative training materials and sustainable agricultural practices. The government also has the authority to fund these private sector lead extension initiatives. Section 92, the role of government agency. Government agency, in partnership with state colleges and universities, work to enhance the effectiveness of the LGU extension system. They provide technical assistance, improve the training of extension personnel, upgrade physical facilities, support extension-related research, and offer information services to ensure that extension activities are efficient and impactful. Section 93, Funding for Extension Activities. Funding for extension activities is supported through several measures, including the allocation of the multi-year budget treated as grants, transferring funds from the department to local government units for extension purposes, and ensuring that the budget for agriculture and fisheries extension services reaches at least 1% of the gross value added by the year 2001. This financial support is crucial for sustaining and improving extension services. Section 94, Excellence and Accountability in Extension. This section mandates the department to create guidelines for evaluating extension activities and institutions, ensuring that these evaluations are conducted by an independent and diverse team of experts. This approach aims to maintain high standard of quality and accountability in extension services, helping to identify areas for improvement and ensuring that programs effectively meet the needs of the community. The last section, Section 95, Extension Communication Support for LGU. The department is tasked with developing a comprehensive multimedia communication strategy to support both national and local government units. This includes assisting LGU in modernizing their communication system, such as through computerization, to enhance their outreach and connection with clients. By improving communication, the goal is to ensure that information about extension services is effectively disseminated and accessible to the community.
Today I'll be talking about the rural non-farm employment. So under Section 96, it is the declaration of policy, the policy of the state to promote the full employment. Economic history, however, shows that as an economy modernizes the number of workers, therefore it is necessary to formulate the policies and implement programs that will employ workers efficiently in rural areas in order to improve their standard of living and reduce their propensity to migrate to urban areas. Next is Section 97. It is the objectives of the rural non-farm employment that aims to, number one, promote the basic needs approach to rural development. Next is to make the rural workers more adaptable and flexible through education and training. Next is to promote rural industrialization and establishment of agro-processing enterprises in rural communities. And last is to increase the income of rural workers. And now we are on the Chapter 2, the Basic Needs Program. So under the Section 98, the department, in coordination with the appropriate government agencies, shall formulate the Basic Needs Program to create employment and cushion the effects of liberalization based on the following principles. So there are at least 3 principles under this section. So first is the no credit subsidies shall be granted. Second is the enterprises can use training, information, advisory, and related services of the government free of charge. And last is the participation of the private sector shall be voluntarily. Now we are on the Section 99, the participation of the government agencies. The local government units shall bear the cost of promoting and monitoring the Basic Needs Program, for which their IRA, the Cooperatives Development Authority, shall encourage the establishment and growth of associations and the cooperatives as vehicles for the stable expansion of the basic needs enterprises. And now let's move on to Chapter 3, the Rural Industrialization Industry Dispersal Program. Under the Section 100, the rural industrialization shall be based on the interplay of the market forces. The Board of Investments, or BOI, is hereby required to give the highest priority to the grant of incentives to business and industries with linkages to agriculture. And next is the Section 101, or the Rule of Government Agencies. The appropriate government agencies under the leadership of the LG is concerned shall provide the integrated services and information to prospective enterprises under the one-stop shop concept. The local government units are authorized to undertake the investments in marketing missions, provided that the cost of such missions are borne by the LGUs concerned. In making the land use plans, the LGUs, in consultation with the appropriate government agencies concerned, shall identify the areas for industrial parks.
So next is Section 102, Participating Enterprises. So unsa di ang participating enterprises? So kini sila are local or foreign investors that subcontract part of their production to farmers, to ang mga fisherfolk and landed workers, or ang atong agriculture and fisheries in general. So kini sila nga mga participating enterprises, no, is pwede sila mag-request og any government agency for training, technical and advisory services free of cost, no. So under this pod, no, is ang ato ang mga BOI or ang Board of Investment. So kini sila is gi-mandate sila to grant highest priority on fiscal incentives to businesses and industries with linkages to agriculture. And additionally, no, relating sa ako ang giingon lang, ang itong mga government agencies, no, they should provide integrated services to these respective enterprises in the formulation of kanang investment priorities in the rural areas. So next is Section 103, Financing. So except sa mga basic infrastructure and other goods wherein ang ato ang mga citizens kay paka-benefit, ang facilities ani nga mga program should be undertaken and financed by the private sector. No, so ang contribution sa ato ang mga private sector is gina-encourage siya, especially sa participation of farmers and fisherfolk cooperatives and associations, and of course others in the private sector. Kay tungod mo silang presence, no, is mapadali ang process sa pag-implement ani nga program together with our workers. And also, kung naatay dali na mga processes, no, is mas mapadali pod ang pag-mold sa ato ang mga workers into something nga ma-develop nila ilahang management skills, no, in agribusiness and other related ani na mga programs. So next is Section 104, Role of TESDA. So magatalang ko history nga gamay, no. So TESDA stands for Technical Education and Skills Development Authority. No, so kini siya na-establish siya through sa enactment of the RA number 7796 or the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority Act of 1994. So ang TESDA isa siya ka government agency nga gitas para mag-manage or mag-supervise sa mga technical educations and skills development diri sa Philippines. So ang TESDA, they shall organize, no, og mga local committees that will advice on the scope or ang objective sa program, ang nature, let's say the fundamental qualities sa program, and last is ang duration or the time wherein the program is being made. So ang test din no, also is gi-authorize siya nga mag-request og additional budgetary resources for kani nga program no. So dako kay og tabang ang presence ato ang mga local committees no, since they serve as a guide para nga ma-follow ang proper nga direction sa ato ang objective para sa ato ang mga workers, and also dako gyapon kasi tabang tungod kay ma-help nila ato ang mga workers para nga ma-achieve gyud ang goals sa ato ang program. So next is section 105, role of the DENR. So DENR stands for Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So ang department and the DENR is they shall organize training for sa ato mga workers in coastal resources management and sustainable fishing techniques. So ang Department of Environment and Natural Resources is responsible ni sila para sa mga conservation, sa management, and development of the country's environment and of course natural resources. So at the same time no, kinipod sila is they ensure ang proper use ani nga mga resources and of course ang protection sa ato ang environment within the framework of sustainable development. So with their presence no, they help our workers in coastal resources para nga ma-develop nila practically ang ilahang mga skills in terms of management and sustainability that as a result is sila gyapon ang makakuha og benefits. So next is section 106, role of the Technology and Livelihood Resource Center or the TLRC. So ang TLRC or ang Technology and Livelihood Resource Center is gi-own siya by government and controlled corporation under sa Office of the President. So kini siya no, is created siya on February 23, 1977. So ang TLRC no, is need to undertake field training in entrepreneurship and management for workers involved in the Basic Needs Program. So kabalo mo kita nga training is a foundational step to ensure like ato ang mga employees can do their jobs correctly and efficiently. And with field training no, ato ang mga workers is they can physically involve themselves in the practical world of entrepreneurship and management. And with training in entrepreneurship and management, ato ang mga workers can significantly foster ang ilahang creativity and innovation by cultivating a mindset that values novel ideas, encouraging them sa mga experimentation, and of course, gina-embrace pod ang uncertainties inherent in the business world. So next is section 107. So it is the special training projects for women. So ang department no, in collaboration with the appropriate nga mga government agencies concerned, they shall plan and implement special training projects for women for absorption in the basic needs and rural industrialization programs. So women no, have good learning mindsets and come forward to practice and to adapt to new things essential at work. So also no, we have seen women leadership can add value to organizations. So kabalo kita nga ang mga women, they are really flexible to work and they understand things happening at the premises. So this women no, they really play a crucial role for them to get engaged to this program.
Now let's proceed to Title 5 of AFMA, which is Trade and Fiscal Incentives. So this is designed to support agricultural development by implementing policies that encourage economic activities, investment, and modernization in the agricultural sector. So to get started, we have Section 108, which is entitled Taxation Policies. So in this section, AFMA aims to make tax policies friendly to rural areas, encouraging investment and innovation through supporting value-adding activities like product development, food processing, and packaging. So this increases the value of their agricultural products, which makes them rely less on raw goods, and rather, they can earn more income and create jobs through these enhanced products. So, for example, na isa ka village, so ilahang main commodity is mango. And then, they want to set up a small processing facility para makaprocess sila og mango juice o dried mango snacks. So, under Section 108 of AFMA, they can be exempted or they can be subsidized to lower their taxes nga makuha from their sales of these value-added products. So, this would make it easier for them to invest in processing equipment and packaging kay imbis nga magbayad sila og tax, then katong kwarta unta nga bayad nila dito is pwede nila ma-invest more atong processing facilities nila. Next is we have Section 109. entitled Importation of Agricultural Inputs. So, in this section, AFMA offers a major benefit to agricultural and fisheries businesses by allowing them to import key supplies like fertilizers, seeds, pesticides, machinery, and renewable energy systems without paying tariffs or duties for 5 years. So this helps businesses lower their production costs and encourages them to invest in modern tools and technologies. So for example, na isa ka agricultural business ani nga sus community. Gusto sila mag-import og mga gamit or mga raw materials nga needed nila but kay expensive kayo ang naa sa local market. So under section 109, pwede sila mag-import og mga agricultural inputs without paying extra taxes. So mas affordable sa ilaha if mag-import sila kay dili applicable ang tariffs, but this is only limited for 5 years. So the Department of Agriculture has 9 days to establish rules for certification, eligibility, and the monitoring process, ensuring that these duty-free imports are used responsibly. Next is we have section 110, which is penalties. So, the AFMA lays out strict penalties for anyone who tries to misuse or cheat the system regarding the duty-free importation of agricultural inputs as stated in section 109. So, the goal is to prevent fraud and ensure that the benefits of the program are used only for legitimate agricultural and fisheries purposes. So, the tendency is, naging mga agricultural businesses or individuals nga mag-take advantage ani nga duty-free importation. So, imagine, dili ka magbayad og tariffs, dili ka magbayad og taxes, di ba, under sa section 109. So, for example, na ay, isa ka agricultural business nga, mag-import siya og mga agricultural inputs, but then, dili dahil for his or her business, for illegal purposes di ay. So, if a business or individual is found to be misusing the duty-free imported goods, for example, i-resell nila for non-agricultural purposes, then they can be given serious consequences. So, this includes imprisonment, which is a sentence of 6 months to 1 year in prison. And then, heavy fines or a fine equal to 200% of the value of the goods involved in the violation. And then, confiscation of goods. The illegally used goods will be taken away, ensuring that they are not used improperly. And then, revocation of privileges. So, the violator will lose the right to import goods duty-free in the future. So, dili na sila maka-benefit anytime in the future once they proven na use nila for illegal purposes ilang importation. And then, lastly, we have personal responsibility for corporate officers. So, if the violation involves a company or organization, the responsible officers or managers can also face imprisonment. So, if officer ka or kanang related ka sa DA, you are not exempted to these penalties. Now, let's proceed to section 111, which is initial appropriation. So, under this section, AFMA allocates 20 billion pesos for the first year of its implementation, distributing funds across various sectors to support agricultural and fisheries modernization. So here's the funding breakdown. So irrigation is 30%, post-harvest facilities is 10%, other infrastructure is 10%, agro-industry modernization credit and financing program is 10%, farmer fisher folk marketing assistance system 8%, research and development 10%, capacity building 5%, salary supplements for extension workers, 6%, National Agriculture and Fisheries Education System, 5%, National Information Network, 4%, Rural Non-Employment Training, 1.75%, and lastly is SAFBZ identification is 0.25%.
Now we'll be discussing the section 112, which is the continuing appropriations. So, the Department of Budget and Management, or the DBM, is required to allocate at least 17 billion pesos each year for the next 6 years in the President Program or the expenditures for the submission to Congress. So, this funding is intended for the implementation of this act. So, in the additional funding, if more funds are needed, so they will be sourced from 20% of the proceeds from securitizing government assets. So, including the Subic Special Economic Zones to the Clark Special Economic Zone and the other special economic zones. So these allocations ensures a steady flow of funds for the implementation of the Act with a backup source of funding for debt. So the DBM's role is crucial in managing these funds to achieve the desired outcomes. So the other sources of funds shall be from the following I will mention right now. So the first, the 50% of the net earnings of the Public Estates Authority, or the PEA. So next, the loans, grants, bequests, and donations, whether from local or the foreign sources. Next is the 40% of the TESDA Skills Development Fund. And next is the net proceeds for the privatizations of the food terminal, the Bureau of Animal Industry, the Bureau of Plant Industry, and the other assets of the department that will be identified by the DA Secretary and recommended to the President for privatization. So next is the proceeds from the minimum access volume in accordance with the provisions of Republic Act number 8178. So the Poverty Alleviations Fund and the 50% to support facilities in the services fund under Republic Act number 6657. Next is the Section 113 or the implementing rules and the regulations. So the secretary along with the various departments like the EOST, the AR, DTI, and some others various departments in within 90 days will establish rules and regulations for effective implementation for the agricultural and fisheries modernization. So this act is in consultation with other agencies, farmers, and agribusiness organizations, and in coordination with the Congressional Oversight Committee. So the Secretary must provide implementing rules and regulations to Congress Agriculture Committee within 30 days. So violating could result in officials being held liable under Republic Act number 6713. So next is the Section 114, which is the Congressional Oversight Committee on the Agricultural and Fisheries Modernization is established. So comprising the membership are first is the chairs of the Committee on Agriculture from both House or the Senate House of the Representatives. So next is the 6 members from the House of Representatives appointed by the Speaker, and next is the 6 members from the Senate which appointed by the Senate President. So the chairs of the committees on agriculture in the Senate or in the House of Representatives will lead to the Oversight Committee as chair and co-chair respectively. So the other members won't receive compensation, but they'll be reimbursed for travel and unnecessary expenses. So the Oversight Committee's main objectives are first is to monitor and oversee. So the implementation of the Congressional Commission on Agriculture Modernizations of the AgriCom recommendations, as well as programs, projects, and activities related to agriculture, fisheries, and other allied concerns in both public and private sectors. So to provide legislative support is to ensure legislative backing and assistance within Congress powers to facilitate the success of these initiatives. So next, the recommend assets disposal. So to identify and recommend assets is no longer needed by the department to fund the modernizations program. So with overseeing and guiding these efforts, the Oversight Committee plays a vital role in shaping the future of agriculture and fisheries in the country.
So now let's move forward to the Section 115 of Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act of 1997 under Governance Provision. So in this section, it is all about the powers and functions of the committee. The Congressional Oversight Committee on Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization shall have the following powers and function. First, they will prescribe and adopt the guidelines for it governs its works. Next, hold hearings, sila mag-hold hearings, mag-receive of testimonies and reports pertinent to specific concerns. Next, they will secure from any office, department, bureau, or instrumentally of the governance such mga assistance na kinakailangan, including sa mga technical information, preparation and production of reports, and submission of recommendation or mga plans if kailangan. Next will be summoned by subpoena, which is ang subpoena is muna siya ang written court order nga kailangan na ay tao or entity ang naa dapat ana nga oras or lugar. Then private citizen to testify before, and to require subpoena duces tecum to produce before it records, reports, and other documents as may be necessary in the performance of its function. Next, they may use resource persons from either private or public sectors if kailangan gyapon. Then, they will carry on the winding up work of AgriCom, with such as sila mag-editing, printing all the technical reports, studies as well, bibliographic cataloging of its collection of source materials, and continuous information and advocacy of work. Next, they will cause to be transferred to the committee all works, mga outputs, source materials, funds, mga supplies, and equipment nga gikan sa AgriCom. Then, they will approve the budget of the work of the committee and appeal na ang mga disbursements nga gikan sa mga compensation sa mga personnel. Then, they will organize the staff, hire, and appointments such as employees and personnel, whether temporary or kuan lang ba kanang sa contractual lang ba, nga applicable sa mga rules. Next, lastly will be to exercise all the powers necessary to attain the purpose which is created. So ang so when they will kanang ilaging barugan ang ilang mga responsibilities o ilang matrabaho og tarong, then ang modernization program will successfully be implemented. So now let's have this section 116 under the governance provision. So in this section, it is all about the periodic reports that the committee shall submit reports and make recommendations on actions to be taken by the Congress or any appropriate department in order to carry out the objective of this act. And an initial amount of 20 million pesos is appropriated for the oversight committee for the first year of its operation. So una na to 20 million pesos pinya initial pa na ha. So kailangan jud nga ang committee, they are responsible to make reports or ilang i-prove kung aha nagamit ang kwarta, kay kung buto lang naon daghan na kay matabangan ana nga kwarta, 20 million pesos. So daghan kayo. So the committee will be responsible to make submit reports and recommendation kung unsa makinahanglan para ma-attain nato kung ang atong objective ani nga law is naabot ba or something na by process or wala. So let's have section 117 that is all about the automatic review. It stated that every 5 years after the effectivity of this act, an independent review panel composed of experts will be appointed by the President and shall review the policies and programs of the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act and shall make recommendations based on its findings, both to the President and the Houses of Congress. So kaning act is di ba grabe ka broad din ang kwarta nga gi-attain ani. So kailangan jud nga ma-maintain through this review is ma-assess na to ba unsa gid ang mga kailangan ba na i-adjust or something na idungag or something mga recommendations kung unsa gid kailangan nga mga adjustment based on sa mga ma-find sa mga expert. Kailangan tag mga experts because they have the knowledge, they have the skills and experience, so they will be the one nga mas maka-make a recommendation kung saan kailangan para ma-attain nato ang mga objective ani nga balaod. So now let's have the section 118, which is all about the repealing clause. It's stated that all laws, decrees, executive issuance, rules and regulations inconsistent with this act is hereby repealed or modified accordingly. This means that if na ay older law nga mag-conflict ani nga law, ang katong older nga law is ma-cancel siya or ma-adjust to avoid sa conflicting laws and para kani nga law is ma-effectively implemented and can work smoothly. Next will be the section 119, which is all about the separability clause. It stated that provisions of this act is hereby declared separable, and one or more of such provisions is held unconstitutional. The validity of other provisions shall not be affected. So, it means that if any part of this act will be found invalid by the court, the rest of the act will be still in effect. In other words, if nasa day makita nga isa ka parte ani nga law nga dili or mali, dapat ang the rest of the other parts will be valid and the enforcement will be there. It is to make sure that the law will not become useless just because one section has a problem. So next will be the section 120, the last section under the governance provision, which is all about the effectivity. It stated that this act shall take effective 30 days from the date of the publication in the official gazette or at least 2 newspapers of general circulation. So example ani is kung January 1 siya na publish, January 31 pa siya ma-effective. It is to make predictable timeline para ang kanang new law is ma-enforce na siya, mag-give siya sa mga people or mga institutions at time to prepare sa mga changes nga dala aning bago nga balaod.